I want everyone to hear that. Say that again.
Okay.
Sometimes you get nervous.
Sometimes when you get nervous, especially performers, in my case especially, if I'm doing a competition or some kind of something that I'm going to be judged on, like going auditioning for America's Got Talent or whatever, I become nervous because I'm trying to be what I think they want me to be. And in essence, they really just want me to be myself.
Amen.
And once you learn that, there is no stopping you.
Oh, that is so cool. So, you know, this is WrestleMania, Russell X Mania, and he sent me a little intro. What?
The X is for extravaganza.
Ooh, I like that. So we're going to get into reading his introduction, which requires a very sophisticated instrument. Are you ready, folks, for what that is? Glasses. I'm old. Okay. It says that he talks about himself in the first person, which is a good sign. All right, here we go. I've been performing for over 35 years. That bears repeating. I've been repeating. Russell X Mania says, I've been performing for over 35 years. I do stand up. I host my own open mics, Sunday show director at the Holiday Inn Clearwater, producer of movies under IMBD Russell Hess Cooper. I co-host Stand Up for News and write poetry. I also paint. I was last year's non-binary representative for Come Out St. Pete and served as chairman of the local AA district. I have been nominated for Best Drag Performer 3 years in a row from Creative Loafing magazine. I'm also listed in the Who's Who Book of Drag 2022 and 2023 edition. And as I mentioned before, you can find him on IMDb as Russell Hess, HESS Cooper. Here he is right now to chop up his entire life from beginning to end. Welcome to the stage right here on Comic Spot, Russell X Mania. Woo! Hi.
Hi.
Hi. Thanks for coming on.
Oh, thank you for having me. I feel so honored considering all the people you've interviewed. I'm like, what in the world does she want to interview me for? Anyway, here I am in Lakeland, Florida.
Lakeland, Florida. That's right in the middle above Tampa.
That's it. That's it, between Tampa and Orlando. We are the meth capital of the world. Those people don't know that, but that's the way it is.
That's the way it is. Got to do something with your time.
That's right. Every city has its industry.
What a great tag. What a great tag. I wish I had thought of that. I'm from Portland, Oregon. There's a lot of meth heads there.
Yeah.
Yes. So you're originally from Florida?
No, I'm originally from Columbus, Ohio. Yeah.
Well, let's chop up your life from beginning to end. Why don't you talk and instead of me coming up with smart questions and all that I'm going to interrupt you, why don't you take me through who you were as a little kid in your home, in school as a little kid, and all the way through today? I'll let you just talk. If I have a question, I'll raise my hand. If you feel like asking me what I want to do, then say, okay, what do you want to interrupt with? But you go ahead and just tell me your whole life, Russell.
Okay. In a nutshell, when I was a little kid, I always felt like it was different. And I didn't understand why it was different. But every boy in high school or school always called me the F word, so they knew I was different before I did. So I had a lot of problems with that. I was very close to my mother at first. My father was an alcoholic and he got sober. I don't know if he went to meetings or not, really none of my business. It is called Alcoholics Anonymous for a reason, and I only share the fact I was in AA to help out other people who think or are in the middle of having some kind of struggle. But through the years, I mean, I was very close to her. We were not that far apart in age. We were 14 years apart in age. So, yeah, well, yeah, again, not to put anybody down from Kentucky or Virginia, but that's how they did things back in the day. If you were 14 and a girl in Virginia and you weren't married, you were an old maid. That's how it was. And through the years when I was growing up and they figured out that I was different, they got very distant from me. And when I finally told them that I came out, they kind of, well, had nothing to do with me. And, that's their loss. And they have both passed. But I did theater when I was in high school. I was in the lead. I
Wow.
was the lead in the play, and my parents did not come to see it because they thought that being in theater would make me gay.
Yeah, it's been known
Okay,
for that.
it's like, okay, I'm in the lead. Okay, that was to me everything, and I was in a couple of plays here and there, but I finally got a lead, and I was like, because I was an awkward kid. I was skinny, believe it or not. I was very skinny, and
You got
things.
healed.
So I got yes, I got fluffy. Okay, I rubbed myself with some Pril, and I got fluffy. And I'm okay with that. I've had struggles with weight, but I accept myself who I am, and I am. Uh, I've lost some weight. I've lost about 50 pounds in the last 2 months, so I can lose it and when I have to, and I'll get to that later because there's a reason for that. But I moved to Orlando because I knew that if I was going to be truly me, I wanted to be in a city that I felt was accepting.
Absolutely.
And then I didn't come out of the closet. I blew it up. I did. And that's when I had my first bout with alcohol. I never had alcohol. I was an innocent little farm boy from Ohio, even though we didn't live in a farm, but I like to think I was innocent, but you never know. And I went into Orlando, got my own apartment, got a good job, and I went to my first club, and I was still very shy. I was painfully shy, and I learned one thing: the shy boys don't get any, so you just don't. So I discovered alcohol, and one of the clubs, the Southern Nights down in Orlando, Wednesday nights was 25-cent drink nights, and so for like $5, you tip a couple bucks here for like $5, you got pretty good. And I know they were watered down now looking back on it, but still, it got me over being shy. I could dance. I was, I started getting attention and, whatnot. I kind of went crazy. We have a place in Orlando called Orange Blossom Trail, and that's where all the hookers walk. And honestly, some of the hookers you got to check under the hood because you don't know what to say it. I'm just saying. So I would wear shorts with no undergarments on, slid up, and then people would drive around me. They were like, wanting to, I thought it was an honor that they thought they were willing to pay for me. But anyway, I had self-esteem issues, needless to say. And I look back on that now and like, I am amazed that I lived through all that crap in the bad behavior that I did. But one day I was working at a regular club of celebrity impersonations, and I impersonated Billy Idol. And I had his built. I had spiked hair. I bleached my hair. That I wore the leather outfits and things, and I really enjoyed wearing leather, and I still do to this day, by the way. But that's another story that we'll talk about after dark. Hi. Um, but we had what was called a reversal night. So all the guys who did all the celebrities, male celebrities had to be female, and all the female ones had to be male. So me knowing a whole bunch of drag queens at the time, all right, so they painted me up really good, and they painted me look like Joan Jett, and I was in a leather club as well. So they let me ride up on a Harley Davidson on stage with a whip, and I did "I Hate Myself for Loving You." And from that day forth, I was realizing that I really need to be doing drag, because I made like 5 times the money I ever did doing Idol, and I did pretty good doing Idol. But Idol is all about the outfits. Idol is all about the outfits. But when I did that and I had the whip, whoosh, they were just like, like, I'm like, either people come up to me and go, "Well, you're really hot." I said, "I'm a dude." And he's like, "I don't care." So I was like, yeah. So it was on a typical night doing Idol, I would make about $300 in tips, and a lot of pennies being thrown at me. So yeah, they were barking up the wrong tree, but that's okay. I'm an actor. I was a frustrated actor. I was playing a part. So, and I also did David Bowie, and I did a few others here and there, but I was really known for doing Idol. And but after that, I went to the Parliament House and entered some pageants. Won a pageant. Ended up at the Parliament House on their stage, and just kind of went from there. And Parliament House is no longer with us, which is a shame, because it was a staple in Central Florida, and it was known throughout the world. It was infamous. Trust me, it had its reputation. I did my best to uphold that reputation. I lived there for 2 years, as a matter of fact. And I went through my second puberty there, because I was free. Any relationship though with my parents really, really deteriorated. And
sounds like it was destined from their original comment.
It's okay. I kind of made peace with what I didn't, but I continued to drink, and I think it's because I was trying to fix something. I was trying to fix that relationship. So anyway, we'll forward a little bit, because I got burnt out, and my mother said, "Well, I'll give you a plane ticket," and she actually sent me first class back home. I've never been in first class before. It never will again. My parents had money, and anyway, went back home, kind of readjusted, lived with them. By then, they became born again Christians, so it was real fun. And so I took three freaking jobs just to get out of that house. I was only in that house for 2.5 weeks, and I stayed back in Ohio for about a year until the first snowstorm. Oh no, back to Florida I go. And about 3 years after coming into Florida, I moved. I was living in Lakeland. I lived with a person that was one of the head bartenders at the bar I work at now. I became show director at that bar. Mainly because their last show director was in the back room with, we'll just say, powdered sugar up her nose. We'll be nice and polite. It is a big problem. It's a big problem in our world, honestly. So I became the show director there, and did that for about 3 years, and then that's when I met my husband. And we've been together 33 years. Yes, it's 67 years for straight people if you're doing the math. You're the one. And so yeah, it was, and my mother would call and she goes, "Are you still live with that man?" Well, at this point we've bought a house together and all that, but we still weren't legally married. We weren't allowed to be. But then when this was actually before the Supreme Court said we could, the state of Florida stopped fighting it. So we're the sixth couple in the state of Florida to be married, gay couples to be married. So,
Wow.
yeah, and now they'll see what the big deal is. As I said, most straight people, if you don't like gay people that have sex, let them get married.
Yeah.
That'll put into it. But no, we've been together for a long time, and he's at work right now at Lowe's, and um, you know, for him doing this, it allows me to do my creative things, my creative juices, if it were.
Yes.
And but I took this job. I just started this job at the Pier about 4 months ago. I was asked to fill in for someone who was in the hospital, and apparently I just do the job too good. So,
Nice.
but yeah, through all of that though, um, when I started doing shows again, actually my first comic show in years, because I took the 17 years off to be sober. In order to be sober, I could not perform. I could not be in clubs. I couldn't do that. I thought.
Mhm.
I thought
I get it.
because AA is sort of like a cult, and I don't mean this in a negative way.
No, I get
But
it.
and then I became leader of said cult, which was even worse. And when I finally went back to doing shows, I was told by some of the people who put me up, who elected me, that because I painted my nails and I looked too odd. I didn't look professional. I'm like, look, you elected me the way I am, and you know that I have to work a bars to do this stuff I do. So because I came back though the first time I created, we had fundraising dinner events, and I took it and said, and some people said I gave it up. I said I didn't put drag queens in it. Oh, I wanted to though so bad, you do not know. But I created a talent show for them, and people would come up and do their talent. We sold tickets. I made more money in one show than they did in three. Okay, I had it sold out, and then we got a bigger venue and sold out again. So, and I don't know if they're still doing the formula now or not. I don't care really. It was my time to be there. When I was also there as chairman, I started a gay AA group, and I think it's disbanded since then. There's only thing that I like to do, and I like to start something, find somebody to take it over, and kind of be that hovering helicopter mother for a minute. When I feel that they're good and they can handle it on their own, and I leave and let them handle it on their own, because especially in that kind of program, you need to go and start another group, and give people a chance. Um, and I do that now with all the people that helped me get to where I'm at today. I'm so appreciative of, and I feel it's my job as a senior entertainer now to give young people, or even older people who've never had a chance or an opportunity to go on stage, to give them that platform, whether it be comedy or drag, because some of the show directors are a little one-sided, and you have to be a RuPaul looking one. You have to be able to do death drops. It's not all about that. There's, Dracula is real proof of that things change and evolve. And so,
Yes.
um, I started something at the garage when I became show director of the garage called the Big Gay Drag Queer Showcase, where we did at 9 months. It was one of the most popular events they had on their Sunday tea dances. Never took a dime for it. When I asked to start getting paid, because going from Lakeland to St. Pete and back is about 125 miles round trip.
Each way, right?
Well, just one. It's round trip.
One.
It's only 56 miles.
Okay.
So I'm like, I need gas money to go across the pond.
Yeah.
Okay, to go across the bay. And when I started asking for that, they were like, well, you know, I don't get it, but I guess it's not for me to get. So, and it got nominated for best drag event from Creative Loathing magazine. I was competing against actual Pride events and stuff, and I was like, I felt more honored by that, because these are voted by fans. These are voted by people that see the shows, and it's like that makes me happy that you know they're people that are enjoying it. And I've lost a lot of people. I even have a band that I discovered and put them in something, and they're going off. They got a record contract coming. So it's about stepping aside and letting them shine. You know, that's just me. The movies, though, the movie thing just sort of came out of accident, and
Really?
yeah, it just came out of the accident,
How's
and
that?
it doesn't cost a lot of money to buy into it. And I was like, this will be cool. I was looking for things at the time. Okay, I'll just say this: that my medical history, I've had 2 heart attacks. The first one was me. The second one was they gave me the wrong medication,
What?
and I never got a bill from the hospital. Never once got a bill for the second one at all. Okay, because they know they screwed up. But you know what? You're in a teaching hospital; they're going to make mistakes.
That's true. That's
Okay,
true.
so and you sign your life away when well, if you die, you can't sue. Well, if I'm dead, I'm not going to sue anyway. I mean, like, I'll be dead. But and I've kind of made peace with it, because we're all going to die eventually, and I kind of made peace with it. It's a long time ago. I'm going to go, and now my husband, different story. He'll be a mess. He don't even know how to pay the electric bill. He don't none of that stuff because I've taken care of it forever. So I got to give him a lesson, I guess, on that. So, but yeah, the movies came out, and like right now, I actually have 2 movies in production at the same time, which I've never had that. And
Wow. Right now?
yes, one is Waspzilla, and the other one is Joel DeWine Coops 187 times, and they're in. One is in, I think, one is in post production, one is in kind of mid production. So, yeah.
So what parts do you play in each?
I'm a producer in. I had a part 187 times, but then I had to go back to the hospital because I had water in my heart and lungs, and that's because I love potato chips too damn much, and so I have to give up potato chips. And if I eat popcorn, it has to be unsalted. Just what's the point? But I guess it's a crunchy. I might as well just eat celery if I just want something crunchy. But so, and actually, it was a good friend of mine, is another comedian, Mary Kay Biker, took the role over, and I was so happy because I love her, and that it gave her an opportunity to do a movie
Yeah.
that she never would have had. So again, I felt my job was doing that. So I'm going to be in his next movie, which is Beast Mode, which I've already produced. I've already am a producer on that, and I don't know what role he's got planned for me yet. And as far as Waspzilla, I'm just a producer, but I love big critter movies. Okay, I love Godzilla with a passion.
Dude.
Um, I love Jason in the Friday the 13th movies. I used to like Halloween until the last one, and then I'm like, I'm done. Okay, I'm done. Um, because I love horror movies in general. But you give me a big critter movie, King Kong, Godzilla, killer wasp, the crocodile, a giant spider, I'm there as long as they eat people. I want to see lots of carnage. So I'm seeing that's probably going to happen with Godzilla. And the one thing I love is that upon my demise, my drag career is in the book, and so it will be. I'll live forever in that, and then in the movie database, I will always be in that. So I feel at that point I've left something, and I hope that people see me because I'm 56. Or is it 57? I think I'm 57 now. Yeah, I'm 57. And it's a number. And what I love is when I see people that are my age or older, and I'm up on that stage doing, because I mainly impersonate Elton John. Okay, uh, I
Oh,
make
cool.
I make a lot of money doing Elton John. Okay, and I never really cared for his music as much,
Me
to be
neither.
honest with you. But when I was at a thrift store one day and I put this little crazy little toupee on, and then I put these really funky glasses on, and I was looking in the mirror and went, "That's Elton John." Damn. So, I also do Cartman from South Park.
Who?
Cartman from South Park.
I'll have to look
South,
that up.
yeah, he's a big fat kid, and well, I'm a big fat man, so I look like I'm grown up. And I also do Meatloaf.
Can you
Yes.
sing like Meatloaf?
No, if I could sing like Meatloaf, I'd be in Vegas. But you know, it's what people be like, can you sing? I don't do anything in my own voice. I lip sync, and you know, I can sing okay, you know, but and my new illusion that I'm going to be debuting. I have a monthly show at Quinch Lounge in Largo. Is I'm going to be doing Weird Al.
Weird Al.
Yes, I'm going to do the song Fat.
That's going to be a transformation for you to be at Weird Al, isn't it?
It is, but he wears a fat suit. I don't have to wear the fat suit for that song. So I already am. So, and I even thought about doing it as Cartman. So I'm toying around with some different ideas. But yeah, so I host my own mic show, my open mic show at the Parrot. It is the longest running comedy show they've ever had. It's going to be a year, January. I overcame a lot with that. Um, the owner's real sweet though. He's one of those people that no matter how he may not be as polite, but he will always tell you the truth. And you know as well as I do that we run into some of these bar owners that would know the truth if they hit them on the ass. Okay, they just like you know, and it's you know it's rare that you will find one that will be frank upfront with you. And I love working for him. I've never been a person that worked for somebody else well. I own my own flea market business for many years.
Really?
Um, yes, I sold games and movies and toys and pride jewelry. And for it was fun for a while, but then eventually all you're doing is paying your rent. You know, you're just sitting there, you know. So yeah,
So
but
what's your passion behind all that you have done, all that you do? What motivates you?
what motivates me more than anything is when I get up, especially like when I perform Cartman, I see the smiles on people, and it makes them forget the world they live in. When I do Elton John and I take a request, okay, somebody gave me a song I've never done before, and I'm like going, oh God, okay. Key to successful lip sync, if you don't know the words, some of them, you just go bubble, 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 bubble. Just kind of go with that, and get a prop microphone in front of yourself, so then it kind of smooths it over. And they never tip me after a request. I think if you're going to request for something, you need to tip me. That's just me. Um, but yeah, and also I am an ordained minister, and
Wow.
I can marry people, and I've done it as Elton John. And if Elvis can do it, no can. And I've also done it as Cartman from South Park, and I did it once as Darth Vader of all things, because actually the church I listed it under is a Jedi church.
Wow.
I was the first nonprofit Jedi church in America.
Whoa.
Um, yeah, I don't sell the merchandise. I don't care about that. I just like the idea of the Force, and the Force was so easy to explain to younger people, and eventually it leads them to God. It does, and sometimes you gotta be a little sneaky. Just saying. But
You know, you know what would be a great thing to dress up as at a gay wedding?
what?
As one of their parents that's totally against the marriage.
Oh yeah, I think yeah we. I think that maybe we'll all dress as Cameron. Cameron, what's her name? Cameron. Oh,
Yes.
the girl from Full House.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah. You know,
Yeah.
girls,
Oh
have a
my
seat.
gosh.
Have a seat, girl. Have a seat. Maybe you know what? Hallmark didn't want you anymore.
I have a question about drag queens.
Uh huh.
Okay, so I'm from Portland, Oregon. Are you aware of the oldest drag queen in America is in Portland?
I've heard that. I really thought that we we have one here in Tampa that will be performing tonight at my bar. It's a parrot. Her name is Joey Brooks, and she's been in California. She's been everywhere. Um, and she is. I'm not going to say old because she'll slap me today if she sees this interview. But she is done it a long time, and it's so funny because I wanted to be in her show. She had this beautiful bar. It was called Show Bar. It was beautiful, at this beautiful stage, and I was like, Elton needs to be there, okay? And I said I would love to do that, and she's like, and I've been doing Elton for a while. I'm one of the leading Elton John impersonators in the state of Florida, and she's like, well, you need to audition.
What?
I'm like, no. So when I have my show, she wants to be in it. I'm going to make her audition. Just kidding. Well, maybe, I don't know. So we are like, you know Mac James, James Esterline, and we work together at that hotel,
Yes.
and he's the show director on Saturday. I'm the show director on Sunday, and our goal, especially my goal, is by January or February, probably more closer to February, maybe even March now. I'm going to bring a drag brunch to there.
Yes, I love drag brunch.
And I don't think they understand the amount of money that can be made doing it. And I mean, I know how much it costs for me and my girls. Um, we talked about putting it in one of the convention rooms. You don't need that. That bar is plenty big. It has enough tables. It seats like 45. We can squeeze in some more. And I forget too, because this is the one thing that was very important for my development. I have been as a shadow cast member of the Rocky Horror Picture Show for the last 4 years.
Wow.
And this last year I played the criminologist. And there's something about doing something like that, because there's like 800 to 1,000 people there, usually drunk and kind of rowdy and very scantily dressed. I love it. I go around going, oh, Rocky all night. But anyway, I only did one night this year. Usually I do two because I have to work. But to the first time I ever did Rocky, I was Dr. Scott. And I had to lift my leg up with the pump, the high heel shoe on. And when I did, the whole audience just went insane. And I have never in my life got that kind of response. I mean, I've had my applause, I've had stand-up ovations, a few. Every performer, write this down, right? This is good. Every performer should at least have that one moment in their life where they get that standing ovation.
Yes.
And when I saw it this year with the younger kids getting that, I was crying for them because they never had that opportunity. And so I'm like, you see, I told some of them, you are really good and you're really talented, and they're really scared. I said, go in there and knock them off, knock their socks off, And so this year, next year, I'm not going to be on the stage, but I'm in talks to maybe being one of the producers of it, which to me would be much more my style now. I'd be like, because there were some issues with it. We had 3 show directors. We had to fire a Rocky on the day of the first show. But you know what? There's no room for being a diva.
No room.
No room. And I saw that any show that I produce, I look them in the dressing room and said, listen, there's only one diva in the room and you're looking at her. My show, my stage, my rules. Don't like it, there's the door. Okay, I got to keep everybody in line. I'm like talking that way, but you got to keep them in line, especially the younger ones, and some of them who are real pretty and they're like, get me in so pretty. No, that's fine. That's fine. Don't care. You're here because you are pretty. You're here because you have a talent I saw in you. But you have to keep in mind, this is not about you. This is not about her. This is not even about me. it's about the audience. And if you forget that, and I think some past show directors I've worked with have forgot it's about the audience. The bar owners sometimes forget it's about the audience. The audience like this show, they'll stay longer and drink afterwards. They will also come back. They will also bring their friends. We all got to keep that in mind. By the same time, try to be more more diversity. Um, Bringing different types of talent, not just one kind of thing. And there's a great many places that do that. But I used to get so frustrated because I wanted to perform here and they wouldn't. And then, you know what? It's okay. That's all right. I'm not everybody, as I said, everybody's cup of tea. Sometimes I'm real sweet and I'm hot chocolate, but sometimes I'm, sour Kool-Aid. It just, is what it is.
Yeah.
It's,
I'm thankful every time I don't get booked somewhere or accepted by some booker or whatever, a producer. I'm thankful. I mean, maybe they see some particular reason why I wouldn't be a fit. Maybe they're saving me a headache.
yeah, but there's sometimes though that what I do is the places that don't book me. Okay, like I had an issue with a certain Pride um, event that did want to book me, but then they saw me perform at Quench, and now they're all over me. Okay, and I will go to a certain club that has a benefit that won't book me, and I give them a taste of what they're missing. But and there have been occasionally though that you're right. I'm like, you know what? I don't want to ever come back here again. These people are insane.
Yeah.
But I like to use lights. I like to use different. I don't do a lot of makeup. I just you it's just so much work, and it is. It really is. Because Elton, I don't have to put on hardly anything. Cartman, it's all about the Google glasses and things, um, and Meatloaf is so much fun. And I did a talent show, at Cityside Lounge. Tay Monet, love her to death. And Conundrum hosted it, but I owe a lot to Tay because I'll do anything for love, and there's a since then I've edited out the female part, but it just doesn't seem right. But when the female part came up, even though I was in a competition, she came up and did it with me as the host, and I was like, "Well, I'm starting to win now," But no, I didn't. But it's okay. Just have her up there with me was, everything for me, and it was just like you always share. There's always going to be naysayers, and anything that you do. There are always going to be people. I get people all the time going, "Why did you get booked here? Why did I get booked there?" And I'm like, "Why didn't you get booked there? That's what you need to worry about. Don't worry about what I'm doing.
That's right.
Worry about what you're doing." And then because I hustle, nothing's given to me.
That's right.
I mean, I hustle for everything I have. Um, I mean, when I met James I was just a guest on Stand Up for News. And then one of his co-hosts bowed out, and I said, "Hey, I'd be happy to step in that," you know. And kind of got in trouble with I said the p word one too many times apparently, but I went meow afterwards. I thought they would get it, but I push boundaries sometimes, but I also see as a open mic host, I see a lot of these new comics make one very important mistake. They don't know how to read the room.
Yeah. Talk to us about that.
Okay. When you go up and do an open mic and you see a lot of women in the room, you probably do not want to do any women bashing jokes because you're going to not be received well. 2, child molesting jokes never are appropriate. I don't care where you're at. You may get some people laugh because they feel uncomfortable. I was molested as a child. I kind of skipped over that because I don't want people to go, "Poor Russell." You know what? I survived it. It can be survivable. Okay. You don't have to repeat the cycle. There's no reason to do that. What happened in your childhood, It's like when you become an adult, you make decisions. You make decisions. Okay, you know the difference between right and wrong. You make those decisions. I believe that, and I'm accountable for everything I do. Anyway, we go back to the other one. Another thing that they do wrong is they don't do new material. I had one comedian that kept saying the same jokes over and over and over and over and over and over, where people were lip syncing to it. Okay, because he would even do it in order. So we cut his mic off. I warned them. I don't like to do that. I don't like to stifle anybody's creativity, but that's not being creative. Part of open mics is you try new material. Don't keep repeating the same thing over and over and over again. You've got to try new material. You'll never grow.
Quit bringing your A game to a mic to impress people. You're not impressing nobody.
No. The other thing too that I see happening with new comics is they don't have continuity. It's all fractured. It's like you should have a flow. It should be a flow. It should evenly. It's like a song. It has to. You have the melody. You have the harmony. It has to kind of blend together. You got to blend it a little bit together so the audience can follow you. Okay. You can change subjects. That's not a problem. But if it's choppy and you do a lot of um, and I get on the microphone and go Bueller, because it's dead air. You don't want dead air. If you don't have anything to say or you're panicking on an open mic with me, you simply say, "That's my time. Thank you very much. Get off the stage." And usually at that time, I will bring you back at the end if we have time for it, because I understand I've gotten up there and just went, "Oh crap, why am I up here for?" Okay, because I'll forget anything. The other thing too is, why are you trying to memorize these new jokes? It's open mic. Bring your paper, bring your cards, bring your phone. A lot of them do that. It's not a problem for me. Try these new jokes out. That's how you know. And then if it doesn't go over well, you go, "Well, that really sucked, didn't it?" Just acknowledge it. Just acknowledge that, no, that didn't work. Or just say, that was damn funny, damn it. What's wrong with you people? Go with that. Just anything. Don't just go, "Oh, well, just go."
Yes.
Flow.
Tell us some ways to read a room besides what you already said about not women bashing or rape jokes or those kind of
Okay.
pedophile.
All right. Because my open mic, well, one of them is in a gay bar. Okay. First thing, you don't need to tell me that you're not gay. You don't need to tell the audience that you're not gay. We don't care.
Thank you.
We don't care.
Don't care.
Don't really care.
Tell us some jokes.
You're here to make us laugh, not to try to figure out who you want to sleep with. Knowing potential. I mean, I could look. I'm going to advise you to get to the place as early as you can and watch the people there. Listen to, eavesdrop on some of their conversations, because then you get to figure out where they're at. If they like sports, then make some sports jokes. Get to feel, because you want to. It's not about them. It's not trying to make them see your way. You're trying to absorb some of it, and kind of the humor. If they see that they can relate to the humor, they're going to find you much better.
Good point.
And it's like, I see a lot of the young kids. They just kind of they just take too long to get to the point. They'll tell like a long, involved story. Also, big point: dress for success. If you're going to go up there and tell political jokes, you need to look like you kind of, you don't have to wear a suit and tie, but don't look like you just came out of the thrift store and went to the garbage bin. Okay.
Thank you.
Look good, because when potential bookers can be in that audience, and if you don't look good to be on that stage, Okay, or agents or anybody from AGT or Netflix or whatever. If you don't look good, they won't even listen to you.
Wow.
Okay. Another thing too, as a pointer, get professional pictures done. Do not get your Facebook picture that looks like my picture does right up here, dark and get it done. I've had 3 done. Uh, one I use all the time was by Charles Wolf. Excellent. He is the photographer to the stars. The other 2, well, Dylan Todd was great, but I can't use it because his property come out at St. Pete, and my relationship with them did not end well.
Oh.
We'll leave that there. But because I get on a soapbox on that, but I won't. Because you know what? It's not important. It's in the past. They have a new court now. More power to them. Great, good for you. Wish them all the luck in the world. Love you, love you, love you. And the other one I had done for it, anyway, it was for a competition, and it is a long story on that one too. But still, you get the pictures done. If you can't afford to do it, which I understand, you can get one done for $50. Honestly, it's not that big of a deal. I miss all the mills. You could just come to all the mills and have it done. They'd airbrush you and make you look. The other thing is, there's so many apps on your phone that it would clear up a picture. But when you see a picture and it's all dark, I'm like, I don't even want to put that on my flyer. I just don't. So, and another thing too, when you read a room, read the staff and the management.
Really? What are you looking for?
With the staff, talk to them because they know their crowd better
Okay.
than anybody. In management, sometimes you need to know how far you can go.
Okay. Like, for instance, what do you mean?
Um,
I know what you mean, but just for other people.
There's some clubs that don't want you to be completely obscene. Okay. And there's some that like for instance, where I'm at, he doesn't give a crap. Okay, just let it loose. He doesn't care if he doesn't care about, and I'm not, some are more politically correct than others. I'm not either. I'm not politically correct in some ways, and I've been canceled by a couple of things that I've said. They'll get over it. I feel I'm gay. I can say the word faggot, and if they don't like it, too bad. Okay, I have earned that right to be called that because I've lived it.
Yes.
And if I want to refer to myself as that, that's my business. But there's some kind of cancel culture with that. That's the other thing I tell the kids too. Don't be afraid of being canceled, because I've been canceled so many times, and I'm back. I'm like a Netflix show. I was on ABC, now I'm back on Netflix. Don't worry about it. Somebody
You're
will
like the McRib.
I love the McRib. Oh God, this makes me want one right now. So yeah, there's it's, you got to just figure out if there's any boundaries you need to know ahead of time. Actually, a good host will tell you.
Thank you.
They will tell you that the owner does not like this, and I have to tell them they don't like. My owner particularly doesn't think child molesting jokes are funny. He doesn't want them in his bar. Okay. Other than that, he doesn't care. If you make fun of women, you got to take care of yourself in the parking lot after that happens. Okay, just saying. And I see it all the time though, and I'm like going, you expect to get laid after that with your wife? Just not like, oh no. I would say this too. Like, I'll give the same advice to drag queens. If you're new in drag and you're in a competition and it's done by audience applause, it's not time for you to be artsy. It's time for you to pick a song that they can sing to, because they're not voting for you, girl. They're voting for that song. And if and as soon as you learn that, and it's such a hard lesson to them to get through. Once you become successful, then you do the artsy fartsy stuff all you want to. But if you want to win competitions, they must like the song.
What?
And do it well. If you don't know how to lip sync, then get out of the business. Or sing it. we have somebody that does share in their own voice here. Fabulous. If I could turn back time, fabulous. But you know, I'm at where I'm at today because I know how to lip sync, and I learned that. I had a drag mom named Geraldine Jones in Orlando, still alive. I think he's like 82 or something. Still did a death drop because last year I saw him at the Parliament House before it closed. That man did a death drop. I was like, oh my God. I hurt from it when I watched it. But he would just like, if I would do something wrong, he'd hit me on the head with an umbrella. He was, can't do that now though. They would probably have him arrested. But I loved everything that when I learned more from what I did wrong than what I did right. And I was one of those guys that said, I'm just going to do the song I want to do, and they will just have to like it. No, because the first time I listened to my driver, I'm like, okay, I'm a white boy. You want me to do Whitney Houston? At the time, this is in the 80s. And I did One Moment in Time, brought them to their knees. Okay, so it's the song. If you dress the right part, if you look halfway decent, but they're voting for that song more than anything else. And
that's incredible.
And find somebody or learn how to make your own special mix because it makes you stand out.
Wow.
You need to stand out from the crowd. I have somebody, Danny Panic, he makes all my mixes for me. And I don't have to pay him because we do things for each other. It's a sort of a barter system. Basically, we take them home from the bar, so we don't have to pay for Uber. So it kind of balances out. So learn to do that. Learn how to stand out. Okay. Lip sync and have your stuff together, and you'll do fine. The same thing for comedy. Have your stuff together. Do as many open mics as you can. I get people all the time who want me to book them in a real show because twice a year at the Parrot we actually do bookings for comedy, and I'm like, no, you've done 3 shows, you've done 3 open mics. You need to do your time, and you need to do as many open mics as you possibly can. Get exposure because you don't know yourself what works and what doesn't. You may believe you know. And I don't know if you run into some comics that were delusional, but okay. All right.
All of them.
But some people think I might be delusional. I don't know. But
We all are.
I will say this, I'm a much better host and a much better show director than I am a comic.
Wow.
Okay.
And you're so funny. For you to say that shows a lot of humility.
It's like because I don't take myself that seriously. When I'm in the show director mode, don't mess with me though.
Yeah.
Okay.
Look out. You're fearless.
You're on my money. Okay. Because even though the bar's paying you, they're paying me to pay you. So it goes through me. My name is attached to it. And I've had people have complete meltdowns. They were in a relationship, had a meltdown. I'm into the songs going on and nobody's out there. And I'm like, and I said, well, let's hear it for the Invisible Queen, ladies and gentlemen. The Invisible Queen. Yes, she's very transparent. Just kind of brush it along. You can't go, well, what the? Okay. No, trust me, that was later, behind the scenes. Some people like, I had my pants fall down once in the middle of my number, and I was just like, but it came to a right point. I was doing Shameless by Garth Brooks. It was country night, and I put on a fake beard and everything, and I'm shameless, and my pants fell right at that moment. Did I panic? No. People thought it was supposed to be on purpose. Let them think that. I got like $10 more in tips that night just because I think I did that. So when things happen, I tell queens all the time, your wig will fall off. Things happen. Move on. Don't stop the show. Move on. Nobody really cares.
Same with your comedy. If you make a mistake, you say the wrong word or forget a line, just don't go with it. Make it funny.
Yeah, go with it. As a matter of fact, go, you know what? I think this Cecily is funnier, the way it came out, because, I may have Alzheimer's. I got to go to my doctor. And people believe that about me because I'm old, but I don't care. Um, it's you just got to have fun, and you have to believe in yourself. You have to have fun, and you want to make sure that your audience is having fun. But I will also say there are days that you're not having a good day.
Yes.
The show must go on because the audience doesn't give a rat's ass how bad of a day you had. Okay, they have had a bad day.
Let's say you have the worst day of your life today and you have a show today. How do you talk yourself through that to get on stage?
And I've had that happen. And I had a friend die, and I had to go out and do a show like 2 hours later. And you just like, what would this person want me to do? Sit and cry about it, or go make people laugh, or go twirl, do my thing. And then what I would do is, because most time everybody gives me the microphone at least once in there, because I'm going to take it from them anyway. And did I say that out loud? Oh, and I said this show was dedicated to this person.
Nice.
And so you just gotta stop thinking of yourself and thinking that audience doesn't care. They don't know. Now it was something like if my husband died, then I would probably call the show director and say, I probably would not be in. That's different. But if it's just like you just had a bad day, wham, put your big girl panties on, get out there, do your show. That's your job. If Lewis is having a bad day, he can't just go to Lowe's and go, I'm just not feeling it. They'd be looking at it, we don't care if you feel it or not, get back to work, boy.
Exactly.
So yeah, sometimes you got to put your big girl panties on and do what you got to do. And
Yes.
I will say this, sometimes I've had the funniest comedy come out of that, because maybe I'm trying to escape the reality of it. So, my job as an entertainer is to make somebody forget their problems for whatever time that we're up there.
Exactly.
And when I put together a show, or, the movies that I have produced are B movies. Okay. I'm never going to win an Oscar, although I have my acceptance speech already written. Look at me.
Are you going to do it in drag?
I don't know. I haven't done female drag in a long time, to be honest with you. But I have a challenge. Somebody wants me to be Mimi from the Drew Carey Show.
I like that.
So I'm like, I'm thinking about it. Somebody asked me to be Roseanne too, and I said no. I get fired right afterwards. Oops.
Too soon.
Not me. No, it's been enough. It's been enough. Anyway, the biggest problem I have right now is I think free speech is kind of eroding away, and we have to be so careful of what we say. We shouldn't have to be. Comedy is a interpretation of life events that are happening. Okay, and if we can't talk about it, if we can't have a discussion about things, you know, I don't particularly care for like David Chappelle's sense of humor, but it's his right to have that sense of humor. And it's his audience right to go and hear that type of humor. It's not about, it's just not me. It doesn't mean it's wrong. I mean,
It's not like he orchestrated January 6th or anything.
no, we won't go there. No. Or, Kathy Griffin went too far with cutting the president's head off, because he is the president of the United States. No matter how much you think of him, like him or dislike him, he still was our current president of the United States. And there still should have been some kind of respect for that, in my opinion. Okay.
Right.
Does she have the right to do it under free speech? Yes. But she also suffered from it. Should she have suffered from it? Yes. She made a bad decision. She made a very bad career move. That's just my opinion.
No. I get it. Like, didn't the Goo Goo Dolls fall off of the gravy train for a while for something they did?
Yeah, Goo Goo Dolls. I think. Um, um,
I mean, Zsa
Candace
Zsa
Cameron.
Gabor slapped a policeman.
Well, you know what? He liked it.
That's a clean answer. If
He
you want to
liked.
see what he really says, you got to go see him live. I bet you have a whole bit
Yeah,
on that.
yeah. I probably would. There've been a lot of people that have fallen from grace. Candace Cameron Burr will will fall from grace, and I think that eventually her GAC, Great American, whatever it is, GAC. She'll be just like, you know, Great American Your, that would have been gay. That would have been so much funnier. Um, she's going to suffer a little bit from it. There's going to be some backlash for it because uh, Mike Lindell from the My Pillow. That's another one too. I've heard that he's going to take all his sheets that are left and dye them white and sell them to the KKK mark. But that's just sell
For
them
the
for the Trump
blues.
rally to the Trump rallies. Um, so I think we need to find a better system in America, honestly, because you have to choose between Tweedledee and Tweedledum, and it's like no, this is America, the greatest country in the world. Couldn't we have found two people that aren't poopy heads? See, I cleaned that up.
It's really hard talking about like people in office when we can't say the word retarded.
It's just like no, it's just like cancel, 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 cancel. So I say retarded.
Oh
They're
my
pieces,
gosh.
they're pieces of poop, so they're retarded. They've been recycled. Retarded.
You're a lot of fun to talk to. I should cut this shorter. And so I want you to close out the show by answering a question and telling us your social media and upcoming shows. So
Okay.
here's the question, then social media and shows. Got it?
Okay.
Okay, it's really a thinker. Okay, here's your question. Before you get old, like me, and die, what do you have to do? What one thing do you have to do?
I want to host either a Pride skate or Pride bowling. I've gotten to do bingo, so it's sort of my bucket list. That's what I would like to do. As far as social media, of course, his Facebook is Russell X Mania is the real one. I've been hacked so many times, so that's just the one that we use now. X is for extravaganza. I'm a member of the extravaganza family, so I'd like to throw that in there. Um, my upcoming shows, um, Sunday I'll be with James for the open mic talent show, anything and everything, the Clearwater Holiday Inn, drag included. I do not care. I want to see people out there doing their stuff. If you play the harmonica, I don't care. I'll be at the Savoy in Orlando performing stand up for a comedy night. Um, that is my first time. Not my first time performing in Savoy because I did a drag show there, but now it's my first time doing comedy. I'll be at Quench Lounge. Um, and sometime I forget the date now. I'll be at Quench Lounge. I'm going to introduce Weird Al.
Yay!
And so and then of course I'm always with James at the Holiday Inn every Sunday. We're gonna do a Christmas karaoke. I always like to play deck. We also are gonna do jokey. So we're gonna have stand up and karaoke, and you could even have a musical joke. So there's a lot of stuff coming up, and I'll actually be performing at the Parrot on the 14th of January, at an actual show because I hardly ever get booked because I'm a male performer. And so, but I'm there for somebody's birthday. I'll be doing Elton John. So that's going to be fabulous. And I should be an Enigma also in December 11th. I haven't decided what I'm going to do in Enigma. That's in St. Pete. That's the second biggest club in St. Pete. Um, they were, they're they didn't know how to take me at first. And then I did this song called Let It Go, and I had lights and a wand, and I threw out some pixie dust. But I did it as a heavy metal version. And they were just,
Incredible.
they were just like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. So yeah, so I've got a lot of stuff coming up there. It's on my Facebook page. It's like, some people say that I was showboating when no, you promote the venue, you promote your shows. That's my job. That's the only reason Wrestle X Mania's Facebook page exists, is to promote my shows, the movies, and the people that support me. That's how you become successful, or at least appear that you are successful. Because even if you just make it appear that you're successful, you are successful, because people will want to book you because you're easily accessible and they know that you will promote their shows. Any place that I have performed at, I promote all of their events, not just mine, all of them. They look at that. And one more piece of advice before I go: have your Facebook page should be a professional page. If you want to do personal stuff, then you do a personal page separately. Your Facebook page should be about you professionally, what you offer, your shows, your venues. You do not say that, oh, I'm feeling bad today. They don't care. Okay, future employers are looking at your Facebook media. Okay, don't look psycho. Don't look crazy. Don't look sad. You need to look positive. Look for a solution, not wallow in the problem.
Wow, that's some great advice. Thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate you. And so you're at the Clearwater Red Lion by the airport,
Holiday Inn.
Holiday Inn by the airport in
Yes.
Clearwater. Thank you.
Yes.
And you're there on Friday and Saturday and Sunday?
No, just Sunday.
You're there Sunday. James is there Saturday.
Yeah, he's there Friday and Saturday. I'm the show director there on Sunday. Friday and Saturday, I work the door at the Parrot. Oh, and I could tell you stories. Oh, girl, I could tell you so many stories. But that might be for another show. Just true confessions of a security person at a gay bar. It's just, I could write a book.
So are you there every Friday? Is James there every Friday, Saturday, and you're there every Sunday?
I'm every there Sunday.
Well, I might show up some weekend and just stay there and pop into your stuff.
Oh yeah, we'll put you up there.
If I do it, it's going to be a surprise that I show up.
We like surprises.
Cool. Yeah.
I like surprises, especially if you bring me a present.
Yeah. What's your favorite thing to get as a present?
Anything that, like, it doesn't have to be real jewelry, just like blingy jewelry.
What kind of jewelry?
It's stuff that blings.
Nice.
Just blings. Or like a nice fancy hat that blings. Something.
There you go.
Something I can throw in with that. It's like, yeah, or the glasses that I get, the really blingy glasses. I need to learn how to make those myself, but I never got that gay gene.
I love bling. See,
I do too.
Where's my lamp? There's my lamp.
Oh.
I love bling. Here's my other lamp.
I know some drag queens that make that jewelry.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. I don't know how to do that. Thank you so much once again. Oh my gosh, I have enjoyed this so much. You have no idea. And Russell X Mania is his name. He's on Facebook under that name. That's his professional page. Go follow, go to his shows, support him, find out how to send him money. Times have been tough. Do whatever you can. What?
I'm also on TikTok under The Real WrestleMania.
The Real WrestleMania on TikTok. Got it.
I finally had learned how to use TikTok. It took a minute. Then I was so stupid. I was like, it's just so simple.
I know it. I thought, I'll never figure it out. It's so simple.
Yes. Anybody want to cash at me? You know, it's WrestleMania 007. Cash out. Okay, anybody wants to do that?
WrestleMania 007 on Cash App.
Yes.
You guys, that's how you help them. Thank you so much, WrestleMania. I appreciate your coming on.
Okay. Bye.
Give James a wet, sloppy kiss from his mom.
Okay, yeah, he might enjoy it too much.
Love you. Bye.
Bye.